Hey, this is Mike from the band Incubus, and you are watching and listening to Radio Sonar.
How's everything going?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. What's that?
If you can turn it to the other way.
Like this?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Check. Hey,
so,
hey.
Everything good?
Yeah, everything is great. I have no complaints.
When did you guys get here?
Yesterday.
I'm
yesterday.
really surprised that it's the second time you're here in Santiago.
Yeah.
In 2 months.
Yeah.
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 Incredible.
We haven't been here for so many years, and then all of a sudden we're spending all this time here.
Yeah.
It's awesome though. We're very happy, very excited to be here, very excited to be back in Chile.
Good. Well, people are very excited to see you guys, and 3 concerts, not bad.
Yeah. Our 4th concert in a month or whatever.
Yeah, well, I wanted to start this conversation by asking you something to get it out of my chest.
Okay.
The playlist that one can listen to before the concert, is it curated by you guys? Or it's the venue gives it to...
Yeah, the venue gives it to us. No, of course, we decide what songs we're going to play. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you decide it? Which artist?
I think that... Oh, you mean when we play cover songs and things like that?
No. The set list that once the people it's getting to their seats and everything, you can listen to songs, and it's like...
Oh, are you talking about who is curating the music that people are hearing before the concert?
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's curating that playlist.
I always thought it was the band.
Not me. It may be. Maybe. Sometimes it is, for sure.
Okay.
Sometimes we put together a playlist, but sometimes I'm not quite sure. Right now, I couldn't tell you.
Well, kind of related to this, Incubus is a band that was very important to a few generations, and I wanted to ask you which albums are for you very important in your life that shape your taste in music.
It's like everybody else, music has shaped my life in so much throughout my whole life. So there are a lot of different albums that shaped my existence at different periods of time. Some have had much longer lasting impacts than others, but I would just say the album Homogenic by Björk, that probably had a huge impact on me. Also Post by Björk, both of those albums really impacted me a lot. Goodness, what else? There's so many I can't even think. Those are just the ones that come off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Maybe something like Amnesiac by Radiohead. I still listen to a lot of the same music that I was listening to even the 90s and the late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of that music still really sticks with me. Drugs by Aphex Twin. Yeah, there are so many. Too many that I can't think of, but so many great ones.
Yeah, no, great choices. Well, you once said, or in many occasions, that you were kind of influenced by classical music and authors. So I wanted to ask you, how do these classical influences shape your way of creating music for a band like Incubus?
I don't know if I could really put my finger on how specifically classical music has influenced my writing. It's just I spent the vast majority of my musical existence with no sort of academic or classical musical training, and then I studied music academically for the first time. I was already in my 30s. So it was interesting to sort of just learn inwardly how much I actually already knew. I just didn't have a name for certain things. It's when I was learning this is what this is called when you resolve it to this kind of a chord. There's a name for that. I just didn't know those names, but then I learned those names. So it was kind of I don't know. It's difficult to put into words how that would have impacted my musicality, but I just think it made music feel bigger to me. Music is a really big place, a really it's a way that you can learn for an entire lifetime and still never even absorb enough, you know? It's you can spend your whole life on it. So I just find all of it really inspiring.
Well, kind of related to this, many guitarists rely on shredding or more technical stuff, but your way to play guitar, it's more like emphasizing the atmosphere or the sentiment behind the song. So I wanted to ask you, how does that come up?
I don't know. You know, I really admire people who have like that kind of crazy technique, like this technically skilled guitar players. Like, you know, I grew up listening to like Steve Vai and Frank Zappa. And then, you know, more recently, you've got these like incredibly skilled guitar players like Tim Henson or Tosin Abasi. Like those guys are just like the evolution of like technical guitar playing has come so far in that time since then. But I don't really see like what I do is even like anywhere on that spectrum. Like it's just different, you know, like I don't have the patience to sit down and like play that technically. Like for me, like what makes me feel good playing guitar is like the feelings that it gives me to play certain things. And sometimes those things can be like a little bit more on the technical end of the spectrum, but then there are also tons of things that I play that I don't think are technical at all, but they just feel really good. You know, they just give me a certain type of feeling. And I guess I'm always sort of chasing that feeling. You know, like whatever it's going to give it to me. If it's something more technical or something like, you know, more simple, I'm just always trying to chase that feeling, you know?
Well, kind of related to this, Kirk from Metallica recently said that for the upcoming album of the band, he has like 100 riffs to look on. And I wanted to ask about the upcoming album of Incubus. Is it going to happen?
Yeah, it's already finished. The album is finished.
And when are we going to listen to it?
Pretty soon, actually. You know, we're kind of finalizing some plans now. But yeah, the album's actually been done for a few months.
Great.
And we're just kind of trying to map out like when we're going to start sharing it.
With tour and everything must be difficult.
Yeah.
And what can we know about this upcoming album? Is there something, a light we can know of?
You know, it's tough for me to put into words. Again, I wish I had like a better way to explain it, but it's like, you know, we haven't made a new album in quite a while. You know, we have a new-ish member of the band, Nicole. You know, she's been with us for about 2 years, and we just had a lot of fun making this album. It was kind of like a little bit unexpected. We'd kind of been tinkering around with some song ideas, like in between tours. And then when we got back from our last tour in the US that I think ended in about October of last year, we just went into the studio with Brendan O'Brien, who's a producer that we've worked with like a lot. You know, we started like, I think kind of tossing around ideas, you know, of like working with various different people. And then all of a sudden it was just kind of like, you know what, like, let's just go make music with Brendan. It'll be really fun. Like, cause Brendan's like, he's like another member of the band. Like when he's all with us all together and we're just like, the humor and the jokes are actually like just as big of a part of the process as writing and recording, although, you know, like we take all of that really seriously and Brendan takes all of that very seriously. But it's kind of like, I don't know, I think whenever there's a lot of humor, like good things happen for us. And we made our album like relatively quickly, and you'll just have to wait to hear it. You know? Like I can't even really describe, like some of it's, you know, some of it's heavy, some of it's you know, I don't even know what. You know,
sounds
like
really
it's not
exciting.
really it's not really for us to decide anyway. You know, people will decide if they like it. But I like it. It was a really fun album to make, and I'm excited for people to hear it.
That's great. That's very important. Well, something about this that you go on tour, you go on recording sessions and everything. I've always wondered, how do you take this kind of life? Like, it's a work after all, and many people forget about it. And everybody has a day that they don't want to go to work. So how do you balance this toll that has this kind of life?
You know, I think that especially now over time, I think we're all just incredibly appreciative of the opportunity that we have as musicians to make music and play, and be in a band and play music all over the world. Like, it doesn't matter even on the worst, hardest days, like, I don't ever have any problems reminding myself like how lucky I feel. And so, yeah, it can be like any other job, where you're tired or you're sick, like we all got really sick last week.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it was not fun at all, and it's awful because if we can't play a show, people get really upset, and then they don't understand, or they feel so betrayed that we didn't play the show, and it's like, we're humans, and like, especially now, we're in our late 40s now, doing the same thing we were doing when we were 20, and the traveling is pretty brutal, like I think it's easy to forget. And every night that we're out playing a concert, it's like it's Saturday night for everybody, but this is like what we do every day, so we try and get as much rest as possible and stay healthy, but it's challenging, and we get sick, so anyway, but we power through it like everyone else, to get through a hard situation.
Yeah, it's really exhausting. And considering you once collaborated with Avicii, he was like very advocate on mental health and such. I wanted to ask you, how do you reflect this conversation of mental health in artists in the music industry?
Mental health is, like, I think historically something that's very private and very that a lot of people don't talk about that, so I think that the efforts that have been made more recently are to get people to be more open about things that they're struggling with internally, because like Avicii was struggling with a lot internally, and some of it I was aware of, some of it I wasn't aware of, but nobody had any idea he was going to do what he did. And I think it's just really important for everyone to feel like they have some place they can turn to for help. I think the worst thing that can happen is feeling like you have no options, so it's important to recognize like everyone has problems, so.
Well, something that the music of the band has, that it really creates a community. And I wanted to ask you, how do you feel of playing in Chile after so many years and coming back to not only 3 concerts, but also Festival de Viña? So how do you feel the connection with Chilean fans?
Yeah, we have a pretty special connection with Chile, absolutely. And it's an honor to be able to come here and play these concerts, and with so much enthusiasm and so many fans, and, so much of the music that we wrote that people here connected with was written over 20 years ago, so it's incredible, like the staying power, that the music means so much to people that they still are coming more than ever, so it's like, it's incredible. So we're really honored, we're really thankful, humbled to be here in Santiago playing these concerts, and we'll always come back.
Any song that you're most excited to play in these shows? I don't know if the setlist is going to be the same, or is it going to have like surprises in?
There'll be changes. Like, we're not going to play the same ones every single night. So yeah, there'll be different songs.
So one has to be in every show.
Yeah, something like that. If you want to catch all the different songs that we play, you got to come to every show.
Well, thank you so much for your time.